The F-Zero series has captured the hearts and minds of futuristic racing and Nintendo fans for over 30 years. However, nearly 20 years of that legacy had been spent in hibernation, ever since F-Zero Climax in 2004. While Nintendo had kept the series in remembrance since then through cameo appearances and re-releases of past titles, a brand new entry had never made it to the start line. And after years of being used to expecting nothing, Nintendo had a surprise announcement in their September 2023 Nintendo Direct that no one saw coming, and had to be seen to be believed. From out of nowhere, F-Zero was back in the form of F-Zero 99, a racing battle royale online multiplayer game developed by Nintendo Software Technology. Like Nintendo's previous 99 titles, F-Zero 99 is built off the gameplay and content of its original title, in this case the Super Nintendo's F-Zero in all its Mode 7 glory, and remixes and adds mechanics to reintroduce the game as a multiplayer experience. While at first glance it may only look like the 16-bit game up-res with a lot more machines on the track, there's way more going on under the hood, and offers something new for both seasoned F-Zero veterans and brand new pilots. It's fast, aggressive, difficult, risky, rewarding. It's 110% F-Zero, and I absolutely love it. So with introductions out of the way, this is F-Zero 99, an old legend reborn for a new future. F-Zero 99 is all about piloting super fast anti-gravity racing machines in 99-player Fast and Furious races to the finish. Unlike Nintendo's previous 99 games, while you were playing against other players in real time, you could only send obstacles to them to interfere with their screen. In F-Zero 99, everyone is on the track together, swapping positions and colliding with each other throughout the entire 4-lap race. While familiar players are used to F-Zero races against a large field, which has been at most 30 racers, ramping up to 99 actual players can seem daunting at first, but these Mode 7 machines have loaded some new tricks this time around to give everyone a fighting chance for first. Most of the controls are the same as the Super Nintendo title, so a lot of the techniques of old still work as you remember them. Taking turns still works the same way. Some can be taken at full speed, others you have to let off the gas and lean to the left or right, and some you may want to tap the accelerator quickly while turning to reduce speed loss, which is a technique known as blast turning. You're still at risk of getting pinballed if you hit the guardrails too fast, and letting off the gas will help straighten out your machine in those moments. Hitting the gas the split second before a race begins still gives you a boost, and you still have a power meter that goes down when taking damage, and is regenerated by driving over pit areas, and you'll crash out and lose the race immediately if you get hit when the meter's empty. You also crash out if you fall off the track for any reason. You also can't afford to fall too far behind. After every lap, there's a safe rank that notifies everyone which position they have to stay ahead of to remain in the race, and increases with each lap. If you're below that position by the time the last qualifying player starts the next lap, you'll rank out and your race is over. The one original mechanic that's changed, however, is boosting. It used to be that you couldn't boost until the second lap, and got an additional single-use booster after each lap to use whenever. With the way races now start in 99, boosting is possible as soon as lap 1 starts, and the power meter's been changed to function like it does in F-Zero X and GX, where you can boost at any time using some of your meter, but at the cost of having less to spend on taking hits. Speaking of damage, the spin attack from the 3D games has also been adapted, which will allow you to attack other machines in your way, and to defend yourself from taking damage if another machine hits you, and becomes available to use again after a few seconds. But if your power meter is empty and you see the power down warning, it doesn't mean you're powerless. As a last-ditch effort, you can boost indefinitely and more often when this happens, and spin attacks still protect you from machine contact. As long as your machine doesn't touch anything and explode before crossing the finish line, you're still in the race. Both boosting and spinning also function as attacks to damage opponents, and if they don't have enough energy left, the hit will destroy their machine and give you a KO. KOs not only take someone out of a race, but for your aggressive efforts, your power meter is both instantly refilled and extended for the rest of the race, and maxes out after 3 KOs, so more meter means more boosting opportunities and more health, especially towards the end of a race, when others may not have as much left in the tank. The large amount of players can make moving up the field a challenge, as everyone in the pack is constantly bumping each other trying to push through. However, player collisions leave behind yellow super sparks that the players coming up from behind can pick up, which fills up a separate super meter. When it's full, the boost button now activates a super boost, which lifts your machine high above the field to a new road called the Skyway, and rockets you ahead for a few seconds, a great and flashy solution for helping players make a push up to a higher position. As if 98 other machines on the track weren't enough, bumper machines also make a return in a few new colors. Gray bumpers slow you down and knock you aside when hit, but if they're damaged enough, you can KO them to get the extended meter and a slight meter refill. Red bumpers explode on contact, and the resulting knockback can be scary, so you want to steer clear of them at all costs. They're meant to slow down the race leaders a bit with patterns that keep them on their toes, and more of them show up in the final laps. If a player lost the race early enough, they have a chance to come back as a blue lucky bumper, which they have limited control over for a few seconds by moving left or right and with a spin attack. And with the right timing can make for scary acts of revenge on anyone unlucky to get hit. Giant gold bumpers, however, are meant to be hit, as they give players toward the back a large amount of sparks to fill up their super meters quicker for Skyway boosts. The challenge of F-Zero 99's mechanics, both old and new, can be a task to wrap your head around starting out, but like any F-Zero game, practice, strategy, and a bit of riskiness will pay off as you get better. Races can be a roller coaster of emotions as situations unfold, like things going from fine to frightening as one mistake can eat away at your power meter, fighting off everyone to survive until the next pit area, where sometimes you make it and sometimes you don't, or risking everything to KO a smoking machine that shifts the momentum in your favor. This all makes for an exhilarating, yet intense experience where reaching the finish line, especially in that coveted first place, is a very satisfying feeling. All 15 of F-Zero Sky High tracks have been rebuilt for 99, with some tweaks to make them suitable for a larger crowd. The layouts themselves are mostly the same, with their colorful guardrails and landscapes down below, though the roads are noticeably wider to accommodate everyone, and jumps over gaps have been shortened to make them easier to clear. The biggest change to the tracks is at the start of the race where most of them don't take place in their original starting lines. They actually start in a separate new area where every racer is next to each other, starting at the same time behind one very long line, and navigate through a funneling pace lap section of sorts. So the proper race begins with a rolling start, as everyone crosses the original line to start lap 1, which then activates the boosters. Pit areas refill some of your power meter, and can be great spots to get a free boost in while you're restoring energy. The many curves, jumps, and obstacles work like they used to, and will have to be approached with the right speed and angle to make it through without hitting them or going off course. The tracks with dash panels that give you speed boosts are even more in demand as everyone tries to go over them, so lots of bumping to deny others near them is to be expected. Spinning helps mitigate that. When going over jumps, holding down the joystick or D-pad will give you the maximum distance and a clean landing, and if your spin meter is still on cooldown, it'll get instantly refilled while you're airborne. Mines must be respected if you value your power meter, and leaning away or boosting to counter the pull of magnetic strips will prevent you from getting slowed down. While mastering every turn of a track and finding the best line is vital to success, this also includes the understanding of the Skyway's layout and the strategies behind its use. While a super boost does mean you can't boost normally again until you ride the Skyway, using it immediately isn't always the way to go. As the Skyway tends to cut through tight turns, chicanes, and splits in the road, hopping on just as you approach these sections can be great entry points. Another great pointer is that the Skyway will always put you back on the track when the road straightens out, even after the meter's been emptied. So riding at a point in the track that has a lot of turns means a slightly longer time at the higher speed before you land to help you move up a few more positions. There are also frozen variants of the 5 Night League tracks, albeit for a limited time, which gave them all snowy designs akin to the White Land tracks, plus the addition of slippery ice in some areas to change up how races can play out a bit. In a recent update, 4 new secret tracks were added that show up at specific times, which remix level themes or course layouts from existing tracks for races that feel familiar, yet noticeably different. All these changes make for a refreshing way to experience and master these 30-plus-year-old tracks once again. The original 4 F-Zero machines have also returned in 99, with their choice of the Blue Falcon, Golden Fox, Wild Goose, and Fire Stingray. While the machine's stats and playstyles are mostly similar to their SNES source material, the additional mechanics of 99 have changed up their racing dynamics and strategies. The Blue Falcon is a jack-of-all-trades with average acceleration, turning, boost efficiency, top speed, and energy regeneration time. And although not a master of any, also doesn't have any glaring weaknesses. It's a great machine for beginners to learn how to play the game, but will still serve anyone well enough that can push past its master of none limitations. The Golden Fox is a glass cannon and daredevil of sorts, It has the highest acceleration and the lowest top speed, but uses the least meter to boost and can do so more often, and recharges energy the quickest. The trade-offs are that it's very slippery and fragile, so one mistake at the wrong time can be deadly if you're not careful. The Wild Goose is a tank that doesn't get knocked around as easily as other machines, which can be quite useful in a game where everyone is constantly getting bumped and thrown off their line. It's also not very difficult to maneuver, though it can't boost very often since its regeneration is on the slower side. However, it's able to stay in the pack the easiest, so it's great at collecting sparks to then skyway ahead when the time is right. Keeping an eye out for smoking player machines to KO, and then bulldozing through with a full meter is another Goose strategy. The Fire Stingray has the fastest top speed and best turning ability, and doesn't really need to boost to keep up the pace. Its biggest drawback is that it accelerates very slowly, requiring boosts to minimize the time to speed back up, so hitting the brakes or recovering from a bad hit can be detrimental to its momentum. Blast turning to retain speed on turns is vital to piloting the Stingray, and can make it hard to keep up with if a player's lines are clean. Depending on what kind of driving feel you prefer, and what disadvantages you're willing to accept, one of the machines should be a perfect fit for you. I was personally over the moon to be reunited with Captain Falcon in a game of his own again after so long, so most of my races have been with the Blue Falcon. But there are situations when it's best to choose one of the other three. As you could imagine, if the four machines came in their singular color across a field of 99 players all the time, that would get very boring very fast. Thankfully, every machine has plenty of unlockable colors, decals, and even boost fire and speedline colors to customize with. They all breathe new life into these retro designs, and lets everyone race with something cool that they put together. You also have profile cards for each machine to personalize with borders, backgrounds, and badges. The cards also track your player rank level and number of wins. It's a neat way to show off who you are to your competition when they're your rival, or on results screens when you're the winner. F-099's visuals are an impressive combination of quality recreated sprite work and stylized 3D models that look 16-bit, essentially a HD remake of the Super Nintendo's Mode 7 style used for F-Zero back in the day. The sense of depth and scale on the tracks above the environments below, and the machines weaving around each other is still present, and the game's sense of speed has never looked better, as everything runs at a flawless 60 frames per second no matter what's going on. The simple yet functional new game screen elements are perfect for tracking information, and the same goes for the menu screen designs that evoke the original's retro-futuristic look, and even incorporates the comic book artwork from the game's box art and instruction manual. I also love how in the lobby screen before a race, machines in their player-chosen color schemes start to line up in a grid, and highlights a few players' names and how many wins they've acquired, especially when your name shows up on screen. There's a sense of excitement and tension as you get a quick preview of who you're up against. There's also way more draw distance compared to the original game, so you can see a lot more of the track up ahead, and can always see where your rivals and the race leader are no matter how far ahead or behind. The soundtrack is a mix of the original Super Nintendo songs taken straight from the cartridge, and a few new compositions and remixes in the chiptune style of the original game that fit perfectly. The same goes for the reused and new sound effects that work together seamlessly. To ensure that F-099's lobbies are populated with as many players as possible, there are only 2 game modes available at a time for online play. Before you're thrown into online matches, you play through a brief tutorial session to teach the game's basics. That way you're a bit more prepared for prop races, a feature that was often lacking in previous titles, and making them harder to approach for newcomers. Loading screens also provide you with various racing tips that can help players out. The primary F-099 mode is always open, with the chaotic 99 player races where you show the world your moves. Before a race starts, players can change their machine at any point, and once the lobby is populated with 99 players, everyone votes between 2 tracks that they want to race on, with the majority ruling. When the game launched, there were only 4 tracks from the Night League to choose from, and Mute City 1 and Big Blue were picked very often, which can still be the case today at times. Over time, tracks from the Queen and King Leagues were thrown into the selection, and give Democracy some more variety. By the way, it's been a blast to race against so many people within the F-Zero Online community. Whether they be members of Discord servers, or content creators and Twitch streamers, it's heartwarming to see that they've all shown up to represent the franchise we love so much. I always try to say good games to anyone I recognize. Whenever you finish a race, rank out, or crash out, you'll be awarded points based on how well you played, or other bonuses like finishing at a higher position than other players using the same machine as yours, beating rivals, and earning KOs. However, if you choose to give up and leave before a race is over, you don't earn anything, but that's no fun anyway. These points are used to increase your player level, and earn tickets to be used in mini Prix and Grand Prix events, more on those later. Completing specific objectives unlocks machine and profile card customization items, which you equip and can check out the conditions in the workshop. While there can be only one race winner, with the exception of photo finish ties, each player can still have victories of their own, as everyone is given a set of 4 rival palettes in your personal skill level at the start of every race, and beating them helps you rank up to take on even more skilled rivals in the future, so there's incentive to keep doing the best you can, even if first place can be out of reach at times. And I have to say, while Nintendo's online play experience has been hit or miss over the years, F-Zero 99's been one of their best attempts. The netcode just works, and it doesn't feel like I'm playing online. Player positions and collisions on the track are mostly accurate, with the occasional hiccup where things slow down or freak out a bit, but that's bound to happen with any online game. Connection issues have been very rare, and I felt zero delay on my inputs, which is vital to a fast-paced game like this. Whenever you finish a race on a track for the first time, you'll unlock that track for use in practice mode, which are time trials that let you learn the courses unpopulated and at your own pace. Alongside the F-Zero 99 mode is a rotating schedule of secondary modes, and each one is only available for a limited time before the next one in the schedule starts. Pro tracks are 99 races on some of the harder tracks in the game, and awards more points for everyone who finishes compared to standard 99 races. Team Battle splits the lobby into pink and green teams, and you race to score as many points for your team as you can by finishing laps in higher positions, hitting opponents with spin attacks, and KOing them. The team with the most cumulative points at the end wins. A few months after the game launched, Classic Mode was added, which adjusts some of the game's rules to play closer to the Super Nintendo game. Races only consist of 20 players, the track's proportions better resemble their original appearances, and most importantly, boost using the power meter, spin attacks, and the Skyway aren't here. You only get a single boost for completing a lap after starting the second one, and can store 3 of them to use at any time. It's a different type of test of skills, where consistency and making even one mistake matter a lot more. Even the game screen has been reduced to a 4:3 aspect ratio with less draw distance. The addition of Lucky Ranks offers more exclusive rewards based on the placements of your first 5 races each day. Your finish positions and machine choices are compared against each day's ticket, and you want as many positions to match what's on the ticket as possible, but you don't know what those numbers are until you finish your races and reveal the ticket. The more matches, the more rewards you rack up, like new customization items and additional Prix tickets. A highly requested feature eventually got added as well, the ability to host private lobbies with invite codes, which support every game type, so players can finally organize and play together in large groups more efficiently. Now about those tickets you've been saving up. Tickets are used for competing in mini Prix and Grand Prix, multi-race tournaments where the player with the highest total score is the champion. It's worth noting that on every weekday you log in, you'll be given a free ticket, which is what it costs to play in a mini Prix, and get 3 tickets on each day of the weekend, just enough for a Grand Prix entry. A mini Prix consists of 3 randomly selected tracks from the normal 99 and Pro Tracks pools and ordered by difficulty. You earn points based on your finish position, and the scores accumulate towards your overall ranking. To amp up the competition's intensity, to move on to the next race in a Prix, you have to finish above the bottom 20 positions for each race, and those who don't rank out and are eliminated from the Prix. Crashing out in any race also ends your Prix early, and can be a real heartbreaker the further you make it. This means the grid for each consecutive race gets smaller, so the better players remain and compete for higher positions to keep going. In a mini Prix, 80th or better on the first race gets you to round 2, and 60th or better on the second race gets you to the third, where only the remaining top 40 will finish. After everyone who makes it through the third race finishes, everyone's final score is calculated, and the top 3 get their time in the spotlight. Grand Prix play by similar rules, except it's a 5-race gauntlet through the Knight, Queen, and King League tracks in their original order. The bottom 20 cutoff rule remains, but as there are more races, only the top 20 players out of the initial 99 will make it to the final round, so the stakes have never been higher. Things start to heat up around the third race, where you really feel those tense rank requirements, and you may have to pull some make or break maneuvers to keep going. KOs and Prix are especially helpful, as your extended power meter carries over between races, so the sooner you can manage 3 of them, the better chance you have at surviving crucial moments, or boosting like crazy at the end to secure the last safe position. The final tracks of each Grand Prix are the only way to race on Silence, White Land 2, and Firefield, and start on the track proper like the original game since there's only 20 racers left. Making it this far is already a victory in itself, but this is no time to relax. With fewer machines on the track, it's no one but the best of the best left on the hardest tracks in the game. The skyways on these tracks are super useful given how many complex turns there are, so you'll want to strategize how many sparks you're collecting between laps to boost normally to keep up, then hit the skyway towards the end of a race to help make that final push to the finish line. Winning a Grand Prix obviously won't come easy, but remember, it's based on total points, so placing high consistently, especially if the current leaders mess up, scoring KOs early to give you the meter advantage, and occasionally some risky plays so you finish a few positions higher as every point matters, can give you just enough of an edge so that your best efforts are enough to come in first place. While winning a normal 99 race is already a great feeling, winning a Grand Prix will make you feel like you're on top of the world. Upon your first Grand Prix win with each machine, you'll be rewarded with a special gold color for it as proof of your well-earned victory. The points you earn for any races finished in a Prix are added to your weekly total score, and are tracked in a worldwide weekly leaderboard. The more Prix you play and the higher your scores are, the higher your position on the board. And if you've earned enough points to make it to the leaderboard's top 100 by the end of a week, you'll be awarded with an exclusive special badge to show off to everyone that you're one of the best. F-Zero 99 is an interesting revival of the F-Zero series, to say the least. A free-to-play, overhauled, online multiplayer-only remix of a Super Nintendo game may not have been the grand return that every die-hard F-Zero fan was hoping for, but it was not only the shot in the arm that F-Zero has needed for decades, I also think it may have been the best move on Nintendo's end to reinvigorate interest in the series, all things considered. It being free to anyone who would have already had the means to play it, plus being released on the same day it was announced, when excitement of the good news was at its peak, and building it off the simple yet complex first game, all these factors combined made for an enticing low barrier to entry for new players, whose numbers are needed for any game to determine its success. While there doesn't seem to be an official number of downloads out there, I'd like to think that 99 brought in numbers of people playing an F-Zero game that haven't been seen since the original F-Zero. Equally impressive were all the videos, streams, and social media posts from people expressing how much they've enjoyed playing this game, sharing tips to help each other out, or inquiring what other games in the series they should try out next, meaning some new F-Zero fans have been made thanks to 99 making a great first impression. And sure, it would have been nice if there was more content to remix beyond the original game, like the machines and tracks exclusive to the Satellaview BS F-Zero Grand Prix games on the Super Famicom, or that a physical version of the game would be nice to have, so that it won't disappear should it get delisted someday, and so that I can have a new addition to my F-Zero game collection. But those and any other criticisms of mine haven't kept me away from wanting to play this game at any opportunity I get. While I can't play every day like I did in the first few weeks since launch anymore, I'm still getting some races in at least once a week to keep leveling up, ranking up, and taking on those level 99 and over, rank S20 and beyond, 99 plus win beasts as my rivals. While F-Zero's future currently remains unknown beyond 99, I think there's never been as much potential for something new than now, and I remain patient with newfound hope. But the future will come and figure itself out one way or another. For now, I'm going to continue enjoying this ride while we have it, because I still have plenty of races left in me. A lot of great games came out in 2023, but me being the virtual speed demon and longtime F-Zero fan that I am, I think it should come as no surprise that F-Zero 99 was unquestionably my game of the year. As always, this has been fun, and I'm already looking forward to covering another amazing racing game. So I hope you'll check out what I've got in store for next time, and thank you for watching.